Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about mental health. I have Alex here with me again. It's a really deep topic for her and me as well. You know, I'm really inspired by mental health, and I think that it's something that should be talked about. It's very important for your fitness journey and for you to feel beautiful, I feel. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. If you guys want to see how I did Alex's makeup, I will leave a link or a card for that video down below, or as I said, up here. So yeah, if you guys want to see or hear more or less how we talk about mental health and things that we have to say, then let's just go ahead and get started. All right. So, mental health. What does mental health mean to you?
Great question. I think I look at life as like from a holistic perspective. So mind, body, and spirit. And so I think that you have different sectors of health, and one being, of course, physical health, but also mental health. And so just like we take care of our bodies by moving them and eating, things that make us feel good, I think it's also really important to channel in and tune into how our minds are working. And that to me is what mental health is kind of like, how am I taking care of also my mindset? So
yeah, I agree. And I feel like mental health is really something that people are afraid to talk about. Alex and I went to breakfast this morning, and I feel like mental health is something that people think if you have any mental health issues or challenges that you are a crazy person, and that's not true. Everybody has, like Alex said at breakfast, everybody has something mentally going on in their mind. It could be any challenge, it could be any struggle that they're having, but everybody has a struggle that they need to get through. And so don't be afraid to seek out therapy or to, be on medication if that's what makes you feel better and be in the right state of mind. Depression, something mental health, and that can go all the way to anxiety or just, a hiccup in life. There are many factors with mental health. We did an Instagram live on Alex's Instagram earlier today, and somebody had a really great question about like how to pick a therapist. Mm-hmm. So I figured we might want to talk about that on this video as well. How, if you're thinking about seeking a therapist, which is, not a scary thing to think about, it's always good to have a unbiased opinion in your life, and that is what a therapist is. They don't know all the ins and outs. They're not your friend, they're not your partner, they're not your family. They're completely unbiased. So
yeah, I think it's important to say that I think the idea of seeking therapy or kind of just accepting that you may need some support or extra help in your life, kind of navigating things, that can seem really scary at first. That's for sure. And so I think anytime you're doing something new can bring some fear. But once you kind of get adjusted and get into that and, listen to things like this and really try to break down the barrier of mental health is you being weak or needing to see somebody is not necessarily like a good thing. Once you get involved with it, then you're like, oh, this really is something really good for me. Or, I'm getting a new perspective out of this, or I'm allowed to at least unload on somebody. So I'm just at least clarifying that it can really seem scary at first, but it's really maybe something that you might find very beneficial for you. So with that being said, if you are thinking about going to therapy, seeing somebody just to kind of talk about things, if you're experiencing symptoms like sadness or just like lethargy, not feeling like yourself, sometimes it's good to just check in and have a place where you can show up for yourself every single week. So finding a therapist though can be really scary too, because you're like, where do I even go? So what I suggested on the live was, first and foremost, if you have insurance, definitely contact your insurance companies and see what options, like what they cover, but also what providers are in the area that are covered that will, accept your insurance. And so once you've kind of started there, you can kind of move forward and either call the places that they suggest, or if you are, looking for something like with more of a specialty, or you're feeling like I don't have insurance or my insurance doesn't cover mental health, then you can kind of outsource to places that will accept clients out of network or people that don't have insurance, things like that. There's always options. Sometimes they're not necessarily the most affordable, but what you can do is you can always ask if you are a person that doesn't have insurance or needs to pay somewhat out of pocket for therapy services. You can always ask for a sliding scale and say, hey, here's what the situation is for me in my life. Here's what I can afford. Can we find some kind of happy medium? And some therapists will accept a sliding scale. And so for me, for instance, my therapist, I've been seeing her for probably about 6 months, and she allows me to pay half price of her full, hour-long session price. And so that has been a blessing upon blessings. So, but all I did was just ask, So I think that's the first and foremost thing, is to just be aware of what your options are, and definitely call a couple people, And then on top of that, also making sure that you're finding somebody that matches with you. It's not always going to be the first therapist you encounter that you're going to really love and click with. It's just like a relationship with significant other, with family members. You're going to click with some people, you're not going to click with others. So I think it's really important to recognize that you may meet a therapist, and have 10 sessions with them and be like, this isn't working. I don't like this, we're not jiving. It's okay to say, hey, you're not the therapist for me, and then find somebody else that may be better suited for you.
And I think that that's like the biggest thing, because I know for me personally, like I've been looking for therapists, and I do have insurance, and I have to pay my full deductible with my insurance before they'll pay anything with mental health. So that, like some of the quotes that I got, it was $150 a session. That's a lot of money for you to spend every week. So it's definitely an expense, but it's going to be benefiting your mental health. And, with spending that $150 every week, for me personally, it is kind of scary, because I'm like, I'm going to spend $150, and what if I don't like this person?
Right. Yeah.
What if it was a waste of my time? But, it's just kind of a process. Like anything is trial and error, I feel like.
Definitely. So, but it's hard to find. It's also important to know what you're looking for. Let me just say that. Channel in, okay, I really want to focus. I want to see a therapist, but why do I want to see a therapist? What do I want help with? And then you can kind of narrow down, okay, this therapist specializes in helping with body image. So, and I know I'm really having a hard time accepting my body and loving my body. So that might be a better person suited for your goals. And that's important to think about too.
Absolutely. Because for me, and my past and stuff, I have family issues that I dealt with as a child. And so, I want to, I don't want to be dealing with a child therapist dealing with that type of stuff. I want to find somebody for an adult, and that deals with family issues, anger issues, all those kinds of things that I personally deal with myself. And I just feel like it would be beneficial for me personally to have a therapist, to kind of have an outlet and to kind of work through those things. Because you can know what you want to change in yourself, but sometimes you just need a little help. And I feel like that's the biggest thing. It's okay to ask for help. Definitely. It is 100% okay to ask for help. And it doesn't have to be for help from somebody that it could be help from a therapist, and that's completely okay. Don't feel like it's a stigma in today's society to ask for help. I feel like a lot of people try and take care of issues on their own, and sometimes you need to seek professional help, and that's okay.
Yeah. I have a question though for you. So
okay.
I know that you've been on this fitness journey, and you've transformed kind of your mentality around your body, but also so how have you been taking care of your mental health through that?
So for me, I've noticed specifically for my mental health with my fitness journey, it took, I think for me personally, I need to stop playing with my hair because my mom hates that I do that in my videos.
Be you though.
So sorry, Mom. No, I called that out in my last video too. The one that actually will go up on Monday, I think. So for me, I feel like it was trial and error for my mental health. For me, you feel good when you start looking good. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that I've had to work on with my mental health, not getting where I want to be as fast as I want, not maybe fitting in. For me, a perfect example is on my fitness journey, I had a pair of jeans. And I said, when I fit back into these pair of jeans that I fit into in 2011 when I lost 65 pounds, when I fit back into these, then, my goal is met and I'm going to be happy. I can tell you to this day, I've never fit into those jeans. Probably won't, because my body has changed over the last 6 years. I don't fit into them anymore. My shape is different. You know, I've got bigger hips now. I've got different curves. My body physically has changed. And, you know, somebody who doesn't have a great, like, mental health with their body would probably beat themselves up for that. And would probably, you know, go onto some crash diet or something and beat themselves up for not fitting into those jeans. I can successfully say I don't even own those jeans anymore. I don't care. You know, I'm all... Yep.
We don't need them.
Nope. And so, like, but the thing is that they're a size 10. I'm in a size 10 now, but just, it's a different style. It's a different day and age, you know. You have to, with mental health, if you are on a fitness journey, I feel like the number one thing that you can do for you is to do the journey for you. And don't do it because you feel like you need to fit into society.
Exactly.
Do not. Do not do it because you need to fit into society. Don't do it because you feel like XYZ is telling you to be that way. Do it because you want to be that way, because you want to live that lifestyle. And it's not to say that anything that you do within that fitness journey is wrong. There are so many things. For me personally, when I hear the term fitness journey, there's no end point to that. It doesn't end. You're constantly evolving, you're constantly changing, and that's just the way with life. You're constantly evolving and changing. Do I have bad days? Hell yes. And did I have to learn, like, mentally how to get past them? Yeah, because there were times in my life when I would have eaten pancakes at breakfast like I did today, and I would have beaten myself up for them. And I would have gone into downward spiral. I would have binged. I would have ruined my entire plan. So I feel like you have to go through those motions of yourself and decide if it's worth it. You know, don't beat yourself up if you don't do your fitness journey the way that it's perceived that it needs to be. You know, simply eating healthier and walking, that's an improvement.
Well, and we talked a little bit about this, but like what even is defined as like eating healthier? Like,
right.
How do you define that?
So for me with eating healthier, for me, when it comes to eating healthy, I don't even think of it as like, I need to eat chicken breast, rice, and broccoli every single day.
Yeah.
Eating healthier to me is paying attention to the ingredients in your food. I eat chocolate covered almonds, but I eat the best, most raw piece of a chocolate covered almond. So like it has turbinado sugar. It's like raw sugar. It's not processed. It's not this, it's not that. I still eat things that are not good for me, but I look at the list of ingredients in them because I feel like it's a better version than the processed kind. Yeah, so eating healthier for me is just eating things that will better fuel my body. And with that, like with the mental health piece of that, I feel like it also gives me mental clarity. Like the gym for me personally is 100% a release. Yeah, it is. Like I have barely been able to go to the gym for the last 3 weeks because of my vein procedures, and I've been out. I've noticed a dip in my mental health because it gives me those endorphins, and that really does help me. And so that's something that I've learned, especially. I
definitely want to point out that, like, what you just listen to you talk, you continue to say, for me. That's what works for me. And so I think a lot of us subscribe to this, like, universal idea of this is what health looks like. And the fact is that we are all so unique. Like, every single body is different. Every mind is different. And so what works for one person may not work for you. So being intuitive in life and just recognizing, like, literally paying attention to who you are and what makes you feel certain ways, like, that is living a healthy lifestyle. And, you know, just to tag on to that too, like, being a holistic person, you know, at least that's what I subscribe to, is being holistic. You know, the mental clarity you get from working out, like, it just proves that, you know, your mind and your body and your spirit, they're all interconnected. And so if you're not taking care of one, or one's kind of falling off, like, the other ones will follow suit and fall off too. So, so I hope we get to the gym soon, you know, like, and can get back to that. But I'm glad your vein surgery went well.
Yeah, me too. So, you know, with that, like, I really hope, unfortunately in today's society, we deal with a lot of bullying. We deal with a lot of stigma. We live in a society where everybody's altered in their body type for social media, for TV, for everything. So we have this type of, what's the word? Unnatural figure that we're supposed to live up to.
Unrealistic.
Yep, unrealistic. So like something for me, you know, I don't necessarily care about my weight so much anymore. Like it is an issue, not an issue. I don't want to say it's an issue. That's a wrong terminology, but it is something that I'm aware of. But I am more focused on feeling happy, healthy, and good. Not so much of, you know, what my weight is. Like I want to be fit, but to be fit and look like some of the bikini models, that is unrealistic. The amount of dieting that they have to do and the amount of working out in the gym that they have to do is insane. And you only see the good parts of their life. You don't see what's on the back end. So please keep that in mind when you're looking at all of these people that you aspire to be. You know, they could be hating their life on the other side of the camera. Hating it.
I like to think of things like this. I always think when it comes to body image too, like instead of recognizing someone else's body goals, how do I get to being my own body goals? You know, and how do I get to recognizing my body is goals? Like my body is perfect the way it is, and it's gonna change and it's gonna transform and it's going to, you know, adjust to whatever my lifestyle is, and your lifestyle is gonna change too. Like everything is nothing is consistent and the same in life, and so I think if you build resiliency and the ability to bounce back and recognize that like everything just has temporary purpose. You know, you're going to get to a place where you're going to be able to adjust a little bit easier. And you're going to recognize like, even though I'm not where I was body wise, I'm still worthy today, you know?
Yep.
And that's the best thing I could, as a person in the mental health field, like recognize that everything comes from you. Everything that is given life in your personal life, in professional life or whatever, just life in general, is outsourced by you. So if you start seeking something, look inside first and then it will come full force. So, which is why therapy again is another great thing, because it gives you literally a straight look in the mirror of who am I and what do I want, you know? So if you are seeking that, I highly suggest it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And something that somebody did comment on one of my polls that I put up on my Instagram and Facebook, it was actually about body image, but I felt like her question kind of went a little bit more of mental health. So she wanted to ask about, you know, for us to talk about, you know, the conception of, actually, I'm going to read her question out loud, but I'm not going to say who it's from. I'll leave her name at discretion. Here we go. So her question was, or not even question, but she wants us to talk about seeing yourself different in the mirror on a daily basis. One day thinking, dang, I look good today. The next thinking, when did you gain all this weight? You know, I think that that's a common conception. I went through this myself, you know. I went from, when I got in my relationship with my fiance, I went from being 194 pounds to 225. I've never been that heavy in my life, but I was absolutely miserable, not just because of the way that I looked. I just felt miserable. I wasn't happy in a lot of aspects of my life. But I don't think that you should think of that negatively. When you're like, one day I woke up and I was like, how did I gain all this weight? You know, like Alex just said, life happens. It happens. What do you have?
So my question to you is, are you happy now?
Yes, I am happy now, not just because of how I look, but how I feel, more importantly. Like, I wouldn't say that I'm perfect by any means, because I'm not, but just the way that I feel by the choices that I make, I'm happy.
So to me, that sounds like a lot of, it has less to do with like actual, like the physicality of losing weight and more of just like, again, I showed up for myself and I did something for myself.
Yep, absolutely. Like for me, I get more excited about going up in weight lifting and seeing my muscles grow than I do with the scale.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like that just makes me more happier as a person.
Yeah.
So what's your
take? But getting back to what she had asked, that's a great question, because I think there is no such thing as stopping that, where you're just gonna have days where you feel really empowered and you're gonna have days where you don't, you know, where you're just like, I feel off, something's up. Again, that's mental health, and that relates very closely to that, so I'm glad you brought that up. I would definitely say though, for me, and I want to speak on my behalf, just because again, no one is the same. I started my process of really focusing and honing in on my holistic health by really, it was like, I knew that I had to work on my own body love. And so I started with a couple tips, and I'll just tell you a few of them. First and foremost, like, I started revamping my wardrobe, and that was a safe place for me to really like feel like I was able to love myself, was if I dress well, if I do my hair well, like, you know, I'm feeling good, you know, and I feel like I'm confident in myself. And then it transitioned to, okay, how do I look at myself, you know, unclothed in the mirror and love what I see, or not even love, just accept or honor, or, you know, just feel kind of anything but loathing. And so I started looking at, like, you know, I would take every week, I would take a body part, and I would say, okay, this week I'm gonna give my arms the most love and the most appreciation I can possibly give them, because literally if you just change your perception, and if you just change the words that you use towards yourself, your brain starts to believe it. And then you start really recognizing, like, oh, my arms do a lot. And like, they can help me lift these things, and they can help me, you know, drive to get to work and do so many different things. And so when you start looking at it from that perspective, it changes everything. And then
It's
you
almost
start
like
seeing
having a
the
daily
pros.
mantra.
Exactly. And so that was a huge thing for me. And then in addition, like, photography for me was a really big thing. I was scared as hell to get in front of a camera, and I was like, oh God, I'm gonna look terrible. This is awful. And the more I did it, the more I started like seeing myself in such a different light. I was like, girl, you are fabulous. You know, like, you just started like seeing yourself in such a beautiful light. And then that transitioned into actual daily life. So those are just a few tips that have worked for me, but you know, I'm always searching for new ways to give myself body love, but also others, because I think that we don't get that enough in society.
And that is so true. It really is. Okay, guys, well, I hate to cut this short because
battery's dying.
Battery's dying. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please be sure to go follow Alex on her blog and her Instagram. I'll leave those down below for you guys. And if you guys have any questions or comments for us, please leave a comment down below with what your other mental health questions are for us, and I will be sure to, you know, touch base with Alex, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Feel free to message her on Instagram, direct message her as well. So yeah, that is all that we have for this mental health video. If you guys liked it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.